Hey, you guys, I'm back. Are you guys, I have no idea what's going on. Oh, awesome. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on. It must have been an internet problem. Lena, I'm so happy you were able to do that. Keith, sorry about that. Nakara, sorry. I know you guys are joining. So, had to do that again. I'm, pain. I'll have to rename this video again to go along with what the other one was. Lena, what was the last thing that you guys saw so I know how far to backtrack? Did you guys get to see Natalie's 3 scene animation for her Monarch butterflies? You saw half of the video? Okay. Let me go again because I want Natalie to be able to see this.
Every winter,
So the first thing,
monarch butterflies migrate from North America to Latin America. Monarchs use a combination of air currents and thermals to travel thousands of miles.
I don't know if it caught like what I was saying, so I'm just gonna kind of go through this again. First of all, Natalie, again, I said it before, but this was a really, really good job right off the bat. From the color combinations to all the animations, you did very solid work, and really, there's minimal changes that I'm gonna request of you. The first thing that I notice is that when this layer scales up and drops in opacity, it's actually underneath the second scene layer as far as layer order goes on your timeline. And you're going to want to swap that around so that the first scene is on top of the second scene in order that way. And so that way, when the first scene drops in opacity, stop chewing on that, you little rugrat. When the first scene drops in opacity and scales up in size, it's going to reveal that second scene. And so you're going to want to make that change there. Other than that, the first scene and the second scene look amazing. You did a really good job. The only other changes that I would request on here for the Monarch butterflies was to slow them down a little bit, maybe about a quarter of the speed that they're at right now, so that I can just enjoy the wing flapping. But I really like the variation in the size of the butterflies, and I also like the amount of butterflies that you have in here. It just fills the screen with them, and it looks really good, especially for the scene, which is a little bit like twice as long as the rest of them. The only other thing that I would say is that when this scene ends here, right before it ends, these clouds stop. And you want these clouds to keep moving even after this fade happens to the credit scene. And you don't want them to just stop in the air because clouds don't do that, right? And so I would make sure you extend those keyframes beyond the time of this so that they're moving consistently throughout. And I would also drop the opacity a little bit and slow those down a little bit more as well, because the clouds, unless it's a really windy day, aren't going to be moving very fast. But other than that, this was a killer job. Okay, so the stream, thank you, Lena. Thanks for letting me know. Lena said that the stream cut off. So they might have seen some of this already, but what the stream actually caught was just the last question, which was from Tristan as well, which I was talking about the due date for the second revision round. We're going to do the second revision round. I'll just answer this again in case it got cut off. The second revision round will be the week of Thanksgiving. So it'll be the 21st because we don't have class on the 23rd because that is Turkey Day. And so this is the date that I will have you do the second revision round, and they will be due on the 28th. And then so your range, let me just rephrase this. So your date range will be from here to here. Right? So you guys will get all that time to do your second revision, the second set of revisions on your other projects, which will be fairly quick because there's only 3 of the projects, right? So I just want to make sure I answered that question as well. Also, Natalie, you have again, like I was giving you praise for, is a really good job. I wish I would have caught it, but I'm just sorry, cut off. This one, butterfly finished. This one is, I think this one is Josh's. Let me just finish something real quick. Check here. I think my Cinema 4D threw my freaking OBS into a loop. Oh, the other thing I wanted to check real quick. Natalie, let's see. Let's see if it passes the test, the format test. Let's see here. Does it? Does it pass the format test? Let's check. It does. 1920, 1080, 24 frames a second. Killed it. Nailed it. Way to go. Let me just type something here. I see you, Seamus, out of the corner of my eye. Sorry, guys. Wanted to check that real quick. All right, Josh's. Let's go ahead and look at Josh's. So let's start from the beginning.
Every winter, monarch butterflies migrate from North America to Latin America. Monarchs use a combination of air currents and thermals to travel thousands of miles.
All right, Josh, start here. You know, you got a bulk of the work started, but there's quite a bit that we need to work on. And I'll just kind of go right now. We'll talk about this scene real quick, and then we'll move back to the first scene and then forward. For the credits, again, you guys don't ever want to have text crossing each other, right? So when the text crisscrosses, that's bad. We don't really do that. Not like this anyway. So definitely don't. You want to update this so it's not crisscrossing on each other. But let's move to the first scene. So the first scene, the icon needs to scale into the scene and then reveal that reveals the butterfly at first. excuse me, the wing flapping looks good on here. But the biggest thing is that your monarch, it's a monarch butterfly. And so your butterfly needs to be, it needs to look like a monarch butterfly. So what I would do is just remove these little tails here hanging off the wings, right? And then change the color in here to an orange. I'm not going to make you add a bunch more detail in here, but definitely need these to be of an orange color. One second, you guys. I'm dealing with a terrorist in the background. Seamus? Yeah, you telling everyone he's being naughty? One second. All right, since it's already been chaotic today, everything's been chaos this whole time. It's been interesting, right? It's an interesting live stream. But that was Seamus. And Seamus is like I said, he is a local to my house terrorist. He terrorizes everything in my house, including my wife and I, at 4 in the morning when he decides it's time to play and jump into the blind. So, you know, he's up for sale if anyone would like to buy him. I'm just kidding. I would never sell him, but I threaten it, you know. That's a good, you know, in case he doesn't want to live here anymore. No. We take care of him, we love him, and he just has cat energy, right? That's what they all do. They're all just like, we rule the house, not you. Anyways, Josh, let me get back to your work here. So I was saying, just make sure that the butterfly is colored appropriately. What you could do is switch these colors around, right? So the orange and the yellow could go within the wings, and the blue and the purple could be like your
Every
accent
winter,
colors outside.
monarch
But
butterfly.
then this needs to scale up and change in opacity the scene to transition to this, right? And I think that the scaling and the movement, you like have them obviously animating along a path, but there needs to be like some kind of trailing path behind this as well. And that's not what I see there. And it's really easy to do. You just take that original path that you had created with your pen tool, and you just add a stroke and then put it behind your icon, which has the path copied to the position. So I would rewatch this over again, the video all the way through, and then just to get on the like more, because you're like 50% there, let's get the other 50% there, right? And then the other thing is these guys stop right here, which you'll want them to continue doing. So you want the transition of this scene to the next scene to be right here, right? That circular transition that goes out. And then I would also make sure that you're sticking along your color palette and keeping the color here and here the same, consistent throughout. So if you're wanting to use like a blue, right, you know how I said to swap those, I would use this blue because it's a lighter blue, and so I think it would look nicer as like the accent colors on things. And then you could use a darker blue if you want to. And then, you know, the transition needs to happen here. And then for this scene, I want to see a lot more detail in the background, as far as like these mountains in the sun. And unfortunately, it's just not going to cut it. We need it to be more detailed. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but you know, I want it to look like you took some time on this rather than just very quickly draw them up, right? And so you're going to want to re-watch the section where Casey Farina goes through and he creates the mountains, and or create your own landscape that way. But there needs to be some kind of detail here. And also with these butterflies,
Thousands
though,
of miles.
the butterflies look good. Obviously, the color needs to change again, but let's just add a bunch more in there and then change the scaling of that composition so there is a variation of size, and then just add some motion blur onto all the butterflies in the
To
video.
travel thousands of miles.
And then I think you'll be right there. And then this transition over to the scene, I would maybe do a fade to this credits here. But, you know, like I said, you're halfway there. So let's take it the other half of the way. And then Lena's revised project. Let's
Every
watch
winter, monarch
this. That looks
butterflies
nice.
migrate from North America to Latin America. Monarchs use a combination of air currents and thermals to travel thousands of miles.
Yeah, that looks really nice, Lena. I think that the music right here, it gets really loud all of a sudden. Did you cut?
Miles.
Did you cut the music here to match them up?
Thousands of miles.
Something about the audio, like the music in the scene, isn't quite...
Every winter, monarch butterflies
That's right.
migrate from North America to Latin America. Monarchs use a combination of air currents and thermals to travel thousands of miles.
I'm not sure if you were doing some music editing right here. You had to cut the music to match the timing. That's okay. Just, I would leave the music as is, and you don't have to cut the music at all, because I can hear... So I heard the additional, like, little section that you added on there was very smooth, actually. So good job at matching that up. But you don't need to do that for this. I would just keep it all one single file here.
Every winter,
What will happen is where is it?
Currents and thermals to travel thousands of miles.
So the audio should match up to right about when he says that. Let's look at his VO right here. And then compare it to the audio right here. I think you recommended that. I had to cut the end credits sooner, or I had to cut the music. Yeah, so I would do the end credits. You could, I mean, I guess you could keep the music like that, but it's really loud, so you're going to want to drop the decibels of it. But this, I mean, I would screenshot this real quick if you have the opportunity right now. Oh, right there. So that you can see how the voiceover, which is right here, let me do this for you. First of all, let me zoom in for you. And let me do this. VO music. And then I would screenshot this. Obviously, my face is covering up where it says music, but I think you'll know. So that when he's done saying right here, you can see where he's like thousands of miles. This is the last word, miles. And then the beat part of this comes on. Did you want me to send you the screenshot? No. I'm just saying this is like more for you. It might be good for you to see where the beats are lining up, because this is okay. This is appropriate because he's ending what he's saying right here, and then the music is picking up. So you don't really have to make any changes there. It's just adding the decibels, like animating the decibels down here at the end so that it drops down and it isn't so loud where your credits would be. But you know, if the audio kind of lines up perfectly already, that's why we picked that music for it. But other than that, all the rest of the changes look really good. Let me go back here. That looks really nice. I love the sun in the background. Let me play that one.
Monarchs use a combination of air currents and thermals
the variation
to travel
in butterflies. I love
miles.
the path that they're taking. That looks beautiful. You really did a great job on this. So did you do...
Use a combination.
You said you drew this in Illustrator. Did you add the texture on the mountains and the trees and stuff?
Of air current.
Oh, yeah. Wait, and I almost didn't even recognize the lovely detail of this grass, you guys. Check this out. Lena added the grass technique in here. And so while this is playing, they're moving.
Monarchs use a combination of air currents
That
and
looks great.
thermals to travel
Colors look really good. Matching throughout everything. Very cohesive video. You texture with a brush? Did you texture with a brush inside of Illustrator? Because that's a nice, you did a good job. Yeah, usually that's something. So what I would have, if I were doing it that way, I would have probably created the base of everything inside of Illustrator and then brought it into something like Procreate or Photoshop and added the texture that way. But because the texture brushes are sometimes kind of funny to work with inside of Illustrator. I haven't worked with them a long time, but you did a really nice job. It looks really good. I thought you did great, and I like the added texture to it, just adds to the scenes. And these are kind of the things I want you guys to think about, like when creating new illustrations for other projects. But you really, yeah, you did a great job here. I love the grass, by the way. The grass animation.
combination of air currents and thermals to travel thousands of miles.
The timing on it is just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss to you. So good. You did this so good.
To travel thousands of miles.
Beautiful. Killed it. Way to go, Lena. I love that little guy at the end. You guys are impressing me. I'm impressed. Did you guys enjoy this project? Remove those. Let's remove these. Let's kind of talk about our new project. I'm going to go through here real quick. I had to cut the video earlier in the video to get a longer pause, so that's why I had to cut the music to go along with it. If you need to do that, that's fine. Then I would just turn that second section down where that beat hits and it's like dun 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 dun. It's super loud. And so just like cutting that down. Yeah, definitely drop the decibels on the music to make it sound smoother. That's what I'd like. Or just start it at a lower level so it kind of matches the level of the initial audio that you have on there. I don't know if there's an easier way to do that inside of After Effects. Like if there's a match decibels, there is something like that inside of Premiere Pro where you can grab all audio in your sequence or in your composition, and you can right click on it and you can change the gain of the audio to all the same gain, or change all of the decibels to a certain point, or match them all so that they all sound the same, and it does it by the sound wave and how high it peaks. But I don't know if you can do that inside of After Effects, because like I said, After Effects isn't inherently for audio. So you did a really good job though, overall. Really great job. I loved it. Let me see here. You do know how to use Audition. Okay, yeah, that'd be perfect. In fact, we're using Audition for this next project that I'm going to talk about here. I'm going to briefly touch on it, and then we're going to talk about this more. We're going to start working with techniques and stuff on Thursday's class. So I did something. 1 second.
Every winter, Monarch use a combination of air currents and thermals. All right. All right. All right. Okay, this is working. Let me bring this over here. Let's talk about our next project. All right. So, what we created essentially with the Monarch butterfly was what we call an infographic. And an infographic is something that you guys actually see all the time. You just might not, know the proper term for it. But essentially, infographics are just ways to use animation and illustrations in order to explain data or like some kind of facts, right? So, like I said here, these videos use animation and graphics to illustrate information and or data. Infographic videos are a popular way of making information and statistics more memorable, accessible, and easily digested. A lot of companies have switched over to having videos explaining details with things with infographics because a lot of people will pay longer attention to like images on screen that are animated versus just text on screen, right? People don't want to sit there and watch a video that's all reading. We could do that from a page. And instead what they would rather, what you want to have on there is some kind of animation or something interesting going on. And so in this assignment, you're going to be using your own creativity
and you guys are going to be making your own custom 3 scene infographic animation. So you're going to be essentially choosing your own topic. You're going to be writing your own script. You're going to be recording your own voiceover, choosing music, creating your own custom assets, and then animating them. So you guys are going to be doing the entire process from beginning to end. And the biggest thing I want you guys to remember with this project is simplicity is key, right? And I'm going to explain to you what the parameters are of the topics that you can pick. I don't want you guys just picking anything, and I'll explain why. But simplicity is key here, right? So knowing that you're going to have to create all of this stuff, from the script to picking out your music to um drawing all of your assets, rigging them, animating them. This is a lot of work, right? So the simpler that you make your information, or more straight to the point that your information is, the less time that you're going to have to be investing a lot of stuff into. And you can be using that time wisely to making something good instead of making something that has a ton of stuff but isn't as great, right? And so it's going to be very similar to the Monarch Butterfly project. You're going to have a few scenes and then a credit scene as well. Now, these are some examples that I have had from past semesters that I thought were fantastic. And let's see here, had a lot of information about stuff and were the right amount of information. And so I'm going to play through a couple of these and explain to you guys what I'm looking at. And I want you guys to kind of notice a theme that everything here is nonfiction. What is nonfiction? Nonfiction is things that are based in fact and realistic, like real things, right? So I don't want to see you guys making videos about like Pokemon or about Marvel characters or things like that, right? Those are fiction. We want nonfiction. So usually sticking to like the similar thing to the Monarch with like animals is a really good way to go. Usually you're gonna find facts and information about that. I'm not saying you can't stray from that. Like if you were going to do a very simple thing on like how Mario started, you could do that, but then are you going to be able to execute all of the techniques and stuff that are needed to create that? So it has to be things that are based in fact, and not things that are fantasy or, not based in the realm of reality. We want nonfiction only. And so here's one. Here's one that's not based on animals. And this one I thought was really good. This was from a student named Janelle. She allowed me to use her work for this. We're going to watch through these examples and so you guys can kind of get an idea of what these are going to look like or where they can go.
There is estimated to be over 130 million books published worldwide. Some of the most popular genres include nonfiction, fantasy, romance, poetry, science fiction, historical fiction, and mystery. The world's largest library, the Library of Congress, is located in Washington, D.C., and is home to over 55 million books.
Now, Janelle did a really good job at not only writing her script, but keeping it short and to the point. All of those assets she created on her own. And it was just a stellar creation overall. She really stuck to kind of this just easily digestible facts. Some very like a lot of the techniques that while you guys are watching these, point out techniques that you guys know how to do. There's a few things in there that I'm going to show you guys how to do on Thursday's class. Some different techniques and stuff, but overall there's a lot of techniques in there that you guys already have an understanding of and a grasp of. And so, it doesn't, she wrote hers on books, which is a wonderful topic. I haven't seen that topic yet. And then a lot of people, like I said, stick to animals, but the animal ones are just as good. So we're going to move to the next one, which is going to be about dinosaurs. This one is also a really good one.
Dinosaurus was the largest animal to ever walk the planet. It lived during the late Cretaceous period, about 90 to 100 million years ago in South America. The Argentinosaurus weighed over 100 tons and could reach over 120 feet in length, eating as much as 2,000 pounds of plants every day.
Yeah, Brian did a good job on that. Lena asked if we're writing a script about animal facts, would we have to worry about citing where we got the sources and facts from? No, not necessarily. Now, if the facts seem like wildly inappropriate for what the topic is, then I will question where they come from. But in general, a lot of these facts, a lot of people get these from just doing information online. Unfortunately, in the video world, there is no citing facts. And that's why it's important for us to do our due diligence and fact check a lot of the stuff we hear, because people could put anything into videos. Proven by you guys learning that you can do videos right now. You can put anything into these videos, right? But in general, these animal facts are pretty simplistic. I mean, it's not going to hurt anyone unless you guys are talking about flat earth, right? Which is not going to fly in my class. I'm sorry. It might be a cool animation, but I'm going to be like, I said nonfiction, right? Like, let's be realistic here. So that's why I'm saying, like, keeping facts kind of simple is better. If you want to sort the sizes or cite the sources for these, you can always do it after the credits if you want to. The other thing I would suggest doing, though, is keeping that information, and you can save it for, like, when you post a video and you're in the details comment section, you can say where you got the information from and then add a link that would take people to there, that they can read that information and find out where you got the facts from. But that's why I'm saying keeping the facts kind of more simplistic is going to be, better. And I don't want you guys getting facts off of like weird websites. You, at this point in your guys' college career, you should be able to do research and find real information that is appropriate and not made up. But that's a really good question. I haven't had anyone ask about citing sources and stuff. I didn't think about that really until now.
The fig wasp has an unusual relationship with its co-evolutionary partner, the fig tree. A pollen-covered female wasp will climb through the tiny hole at the bottom of the fig fruit to lay her eggs, ripping her wings off and entombing herself in the process. The newly hatched wasps will eat their way through the fig fruit to begin the cycle anew. The fig wasp has an unusual relationship with its co-evolutionary partner, the fig tree.
I must have thrown in his wrong one because it has like the audio in the background. But this one was done really well. This was done by Eric, and Eric added a lot of these textures and stuff to his illustrations, which really made it look super cool and interesting. Can't do flat earth. I guess I could do something about Santa. You could do like the origin of the story of Santa, Keith, if you wanted to. I mean, you're like, if I can't do Santa, I quit class. But like, you can have like, if you can find the facts, like actual factual information, like maybe where the story of Santa originated from, you could do a Santa Claus one. Like the story of Pac-Man, like how did Pac-Man get started? Or like the idea for the I love your poop emoji. That's so funny. I love your sense of humor. Or like there's ways to get around that nonfiction topic by doing things like maybe where the idea of the PlayStation came from, or the Nintendo, but it still has to be just factual information, 3 scenes, and then your credits, right? But yeah, Eric did some really cool things.
Its co-evolutionary partner, the fig tree. A pollen
and a lot of like just overlays. Like he really worked on adding these overlays. And so you can see where this creativity of this stuff is coming through on these projects, where you get a little bit more freedom on where to take this project, but the guidelines on where to stay into. Lena said, I'm working on a research paper, so citations are all that's on my mind. Don't worry, my wife right now is doing a bunch of APA work, like papers she has to write, and she's like, how am I only supposed to have this many sources when I need this many like, because they're limiting how many sources she can have. It's kind of crazy. But she's in a master's program, so but I don't want to be doing her work. You're actually studying about the blue macaw. They are extinct, but that would be fun. That would be great. I haven't seen one on a blue macaw. They're extinct. That's so sad. I just hate. I am sorry, but you guys are going to get like a little version of me, not teacher version. But I literally hate that people do all this stuff to like make animals go extinct. It makes me infuriated that we like just destroy habitats for the next Walgreens to go up. It just blows my mind of stupidity in this world. I'm sure a lot of you guys will relate, but it's just really, that is just something that really gets under my skin. Something I have very strong opinions about. Let's go through. I think these ones are from a couple older classes.
Pupusas are a traditional dish.
This one's a great one too. So I had a student last semester do one on a food dish, like that she was familiar with, and so she did one on pupusas. And so you can see how it doesn't just have to stick to animals. You can do something about any other topic that's, actuality. Like, listen, I'll play it.
Pupusas are a traditional dish and the most popular dish in El Salvador. They are made of masa that goes through the process of being stuffed, rounded, and flattened out. The process of rounding and flattening the pupusa into shape is called palmear. There are different pupusas that have different fillings: frijoles, beans, queso, cheese, chicharrón, ground pork, and revuelta, a mix of all three.
Yeah, she did a really cool job on that animation too. I like to see different things. A lot of students like to stick again to the same layout as the Monarch butterfly one, and I understand why. But a lot of students also like to get really detailed and have fun. Now, when I'm playing these,
Penguins
and you
are
guys are
species found
noticing
only in
these
the continents
things,
of the
this
southern
one's very
hemisphere and its
close.
surrounding islands.
Here, let me stop this here. Let me go back.
Penguin.
So this one is going to be very close to the layout that we did for the Monarch butterfly, which I said was just the same, or was just fine being sticking to that same layout. But he did his with penguins. So
Penguins are a species found only in the continents of the southern
The map
hemisphere
scene?
and its surrounding islands. While they're classified as birds, they adapted with silent bones and
This one's
flippers
really
to help them
cool.
swim fast and catch
traveling
their prey.
along a path, right? Yeah, so he did a really cool job here, but this is why I wanted to put all of these different examples in this module for you, so that you guys can really kind of see where you can go with your creativity. Now, I have the key project aspects to the entire project written down for you guys, so that you are aware of how this is kind of going to go and what kind of order you're going to start to want to do things. So the first thing to do is to write a script. I put on here, the best thing to stick to is 2 to 3 sentences. The biggest thing I say to stick to the 2 to 3 sentences is because of this part. The more you write, the more you have to create. And when you start to see all of the details that go into all of these scenes, you can kind of start to mentally build up how much time it's going to take for you to create these animations, right? It's going to take a long time if you're doing the VO and you're writing the script, you're doing the VO yourself, you're doing all this stuff on your own, right? I don't want you to reuse any assets or any facts from the Monarch Butterfly project. That's a big one. So make sure you're not using anything from that project. This is the thing, is leveraging all of the skills that you have developed in this class so far. So rigging, using animations and the fundamentals of animation, and then at least having one multi-part animated element. So what do I mean by that? The butterfly, the robot arm, things are parented and they're rigged. So multi-part animated elements that are rigged use parenting and or layer relationships. Same way to say parenting or rigging, right? No text or no typography. You're going to notice this when you guys are looking on here. The only text that you're going to see in the video is on the credits. Unless you're doing you could do a whole infographic on text and like maybe a certain font or something like that. I would accept text on the screen then, but it would have to be in a very creative way. And it couldn't be just typing everything and having the script written out on screen. I will not go for that, right? If you have anything on screen that's text other than your credits at the end, you'll get points marked off. Picking a nonfiction topic that you are familiar with, right? Or that you are going to do a little bit of research with. There must be 3 scenes of animation, not including the credit scene, right? So the credit scene is its own standalone thing. You may, but are not required to use that format, like I was saying for the Monarch project. And I laid the format out here. So scene 1 was an animated icon. Scene 2 was a map animation. Scene 3 was an animated scene. This is a design class. Consider layout and design of each of your scenes. Use a consistent and coherent color palette, like I've been talking about all semester, and use a consistent illustration style. That's a big thing. I think a lot of people will, when they first start mixing illustration styles in their videos, and it's jarring for the viewer. Right? We want to see something very cohesive and consistent throughout the whole video that keeps it all smooth flowing. Because when the color palette changes dramatically and you're like, whoa, unless it was very intentional and part of the story, then, it's something that people notice right off the bat. Here's some areas to pick out some free music. There's free music on YouTube. There's this one called Free Sound, where you can find free music, free stock music on this website as well. And then a place where you guys can make your own music, because if you want to, I'm not going to say no, you can make your own custom music. Here's some video lessons and techniques. We are going to do some of these and any other ones you guys want to learn over the next, let's see. I don't know when I have this due. I think I have it until the 20th. November 13th, which is next Monday. Yeah, I think we could through the 20th. So the 13th through the 20th is a date range for this. Which I think is a good date range. I think you guys will be able to complete it hopefully within that time. That date range might change, right? No, I would love that. Let me answer first and then second one. Lena said, if we want to put textures, could we combine photos with illustrations? Yes, if it's consistent, I will allow it. If it's consistent through the video or it has a reason to, you can do that, because that's what Eric did right here. He obviously didn't illustrate these. These are photos or images that he found of different textures that he's overlaid on to his things that he's illustrated himself. So I am completely fine with that if it's used in a similar context as this, right? You could still parent things as well that are like this, but he has his bugs are fully illustrated on his own time, and then these have the photos essentially with it. So yeah, you can do that. Are we allowed to add some sound effects or just have music? I think sound effects are great. I think that you are more than welcome to add sound effects if you have the time to do so. I think that should be kind of a last flourish on it, before you're finished. Doing that is, I would go in and add some sound effects to it, and not make that the main focus unless that's part of the topic that you're doing. But I'm fine with that. Yeah, if you have the time, go ahead and throw in some sound effects. I would love that. Let me see here. Here's an outline of how this project is, like, how everything's going to go, right? Of the process of creating the infographic video. So follow the outline, pay attention to the information, and remember to create 3 scenes plus a credit scene at the end. I can't tell you how many people will do 2 scenes and I'm like, that doesn't count. So you're going to you're going to pick a topic and you're going to write your script, right? Greater or equal to 2 to 3 sentences, but the more you put, the more you have to animate. Record the voiceover with your mic. If you do not have a decent mic, feel free to use your phone or a gaming headset. How to import the sound file into After Effects. You're going to have to sketch out your scenes so you have an idea of what are needed. And then you'll make an asset list. Some of these things are things that you're going to do on your own time. So if you feel you need to do that, you can do that. If you feel you want to skip the sketching process and go right into just creating the assets, and that's fine. But you will want to create some sort of list of the things that you're going to need just for your own purposes, right? You're going to draw your assets in Illustrator, Photoshop, or Procreate, or any other program that will export a PNG or any kind of vector file, right? Remember that when working in a raster programs like Photoshop or Procreate, to make your images larger than 1920 and 1080. That way you can animate the scale of your imagery without the image becoming pixelated. That's a big thing to remember. Number 5, determine which assets will need to be animated and determine which part of the assets need to move independently, so that you can place them on the appropriate layers, right, in each of your assets. Then you're going to create comps for each scene. This is literally just a breakdown of how your project's going to go. And part of it's on your own time. And the other thing, well, I'll talk about Thursday's class here in just a second. But you're going to create comps for each scene. You're going to label them. You're going to lay out all of your assets in each scene in the appropriate comp. Then you're going to animate. Then you're going to put the scenes together in a main comp with a voiceover and make sure the animation lines up with the voiceover. You're going to add your soundtrack. Be sure that it doesn't drown out the voiceover. Then you're going to add your credits. Make sure they're on screen long enough to read out loud. And then you're going to render, right? Deliverable, 1 single MP4 with the following parameters. I will let you guys read through these. Now, Thursday's class, because this is more of a creative assignment and I am not telling you exactly what to do on this, right? You guys are picking your own topic. You're writing your own script. The thing that I'm going to teach you guys on Thursday are going to be different kind of techniques that you might not have used yet, but that might be useful in your projects. I'll probably go over this creating a 3D map and creating a globe and how to use the puppet pin tool and creating eye blinks. This is a big one. Eye blinks is huge. A lot of students do animals because, like I said, it's an easy thing. It's very similar to the Monarch. And so a lot of the animals have tails, which we'll use the puppet pin tool for, and eye blinks, right? Another good technique for tails and wings, etc., right? Here's another video. Let's see if this one works. This one's unavailable. Let me remove this. I think it does that after a certain time. Let me just bring this over here. I'll publish this for you guys so you guys can look through it. All right. Let's see here. Other Illustrator tools, like different ways to use Illustrator and stuff, not required, but can be used for part of the project. And so with this being said, on Thursday's class, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to record a voiceover inside of Adobe Audition. We're going to use Adobe Audition for the first time, and then bringing that audio into After Effects. And then I'm going to just talk to you guys about some different techniques that you can use maybe for these projects. Now, the other thing that I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to do is to have your scripts approved, right? So by Thursday, preferably by, I put it to the end like that. I would allow you guys to submit it until the end of Thursday night. That way, like if we're live streaming in class and you want to submit it and get feedback on it, I can do that for you. But I want you to submit your script via a Word document or a PDF for approval on your custom 3-scene animation. So I will go over your scripts on Thursday as well. Please remember the following when picking your topic and writing your script, right? 3-scene, 2 to 3 sentences. Remember, the more you write, yada, yada, yada. Also, here's another one. If there are any After Effects techniques that you would like to learn for this project based on your topic or your script, list them on the same document, and I will try to demonstrate at least one of them in class. And if I don't get to that, I will point you in the appropriate direction and find you some kind of video or create like a separate video on during a different time that will help you with that. Now, the due date for this one's going to be a hard due date, November 9th, because on Thursday's class, you guys are going to come in. We're going to go over your scripts. We're going to record one of the scripts or just a random script. And then we are going to move into techniques that you guys can use for these different projects. The thing I will tell you guys right now is that the project due date range for the custom 3-scene animation, again, is November 13th through the 20th. So I will have limited time to give you guys techniques to work with on Thursday. And if there's, I want you guys to kind of base a majority of your video on things that you know how to do, techniques that you're familiar with, and then maybe 1 or 2 techniques that you're not familiar with that maybe you want to experiment with, or maybe you want me to try and show you how to do. If when we go over these in class, like do our reviews of them, right? I'll pick out things when I'm giving you live feedback on these projects that I'm like, hey, this might be easier to do it this way. And that will be part of your feedback too. So if we don't quite get to it right away, that's kind of how the rest of this semester is going to keep going. Now that we're in an area where you guys are going to have more creative freedom, it's going to be less of me teaching you guys step by step by step, and more of you guys trying to figure it out on your own, and then me guiding you based on what you're trying to do. Because this project is your first like big standalone project on your own, and then your next project will be very similar, but it's going to be a little bit more in depth, where you're going to be getting a storyboard approved, and we're going to be mixing both Cinema 4D and After Effects together. And so it's going to be a little bit more of a technical video, right? Like more technical things that you'll want to use. So, moving forward, classes are going to change a little bit and be more me kind of teaching you just different techniques that might apply to your videos, and maybe like, giving you information about certain things. A good thing, if you guys want to look for some infographics, right? Let's go ahead and the infographic show is a good one. There's also one, I know Casey mentioned it. It's always starts because Jerkistat. I can never spell it. And I'm not going to spell it right. The infographic show is a good one for you guys to watch and see. I might be... Oh, here it is. I saved it so that... Yes. Curs, I don't know, I can't say that word. Please don't make me say this word. But watching these ones is a good idea on infographics. These are ridiculously long. You guys will not have one that's that long. Yours is going to be about 45 seconds long, maybe. So, but look at all these topics that there are on here. Like, I mean, I don't know about the Big Bang aliens, but nuclear war, vaccines, loneliness, wormholes. Like, there's so many topics that you guys can pick from. It doesn't have to be these. Some of these are a little intense. But like, some cool kind of things. If you're looking through these things and you see something that maybe you want to learn how to do, note that, and then maybe we can figure it out for you. So it's kind of going to be from here on out working on this project. We're going to be making changes to things, and then we're going to be working on the color scope project, making changes to those. And then we're going to be moving into our reel, which is the final project, right? And that'll be the last couple weeks will be mostly like fine tuning all of your old projects, putting them into your reel and getting that ready for your final. So do you guys have any questions? Before I shut the live stream off for a second time. First time fully unintentional, second time intentional. Nope. He's good. He's got his topic pick. Yeah, not a problem, guys. I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I think I did. Let me just check. How long does it need to be again? Just about 2 to 3 sentences. I would just check on each one of these. Let's see. I think they're about 30 to 45 seconds. Let's just double check on some of the examples. Yeah, 44 seconds, 25 seconds, 35. So about 30 seconds long is it's going to be about that. 30 to 45 seconds long. No more than 45. If it's more than 45, then you've done extra work, right? You've given yourself extra sentences and you're going to be working a lot harder. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you guys on Thursday. If you have any questions in the meantime, let me know. Get those scripts turned into me. All you got to do is just type the sentences out, right? Just type the paragraph out. If you want to add your sources, you can. Give me a little list of any kind of techniques that you might want to learn, like 1 to 2 techniques that you might want to learn. Anything beyond that, I might not get to all of them, like I said. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you on Thursday's class. You guys have a good night and a good day tomorrow. Bye.